Oh boy, do I feel silly. Okay, let's get some things straightened out before we go delving all deep into this steez of a mod sanctuary. I have uninstalled most of SkyRealism, and though I am on Leo right now, this is how I'm going to be doing. I think I am still going to do the Quinto playthrough. This is how I'm going to be doing it though, on Skyrim redone instead of SkyRealism. This makes the changes that I thought SkyRealism did. Now, I'm not going to touch on all these just because I don't want an entire episode of just me pointing at some silly stuff. But all these perk trees are thoroughly changed. Look at two-handed weapons. They're changed in big ways. Axes do the bleeding damage still, except now you can get a boiling point. While wielding a battle axe, each enemy hit has a 5% chance to trigger a rage, temporarily increasing all damage dealt by 50%. These types of changes are everywhere in all the perk trees. They're huge changes. They're amazing gameplay changes. Amazing at the very least in the way that they definitely differ things. They mix stuff right up. The perk trees of Skyrim Realism don't really mix things up. I haven't totally gotten rid of Skyrim Realism though. Or I guess it's just called SkyRealism. I'm probably doing it all kinds of injustice. I still have a few mods from it installed. I've got the Feast or Famine and the timescale changes installed from it. I think I had a grass mod installed. I may have taken that out. I don't know. I'll make sure that's in too. But I'm going to do a quest. I'm in Skyrim Redone now, I think more popularly called SkyRe. I'm going to go grab a white file for an alchemist in Windhelm. And apparently that's going to entail fighting some trolls. It's going to be the second one I've fought already. SkyRe does make a lot of changes. I can't really see a majority of them yet with my two-handed user. But, and a matter of fact, I think I might put this to Legendary. The only bad thing is I still have Deadly Dragons installed. I think I need to put the difficulty to Legendary and take Deadly Dragons off. For right now, I'll just try to run from dragons. I'm not going to try to fight dragons at all in this current state. I think I can fight whatever I find in here pretty easily, though. And for the most part, I don't need to loot with this guy. With Leo, the rich battle nord, he has no need for coin. He's got plenty of it. I really hope it's not just trolls down here. I think I remember there being more than just trolls. Oh geez, I wish I could just rattle off the changes that this makes to the combat system. Skyrim Redone, so many changes, it's ridiculous. You notice some of my knockbacks there from power attacks landing unblocked. There's even cooler stuff than that in the perk tree, and then also just in small changes to the default ways that combat works. Oh yes, I'm starting to recall now. Draugr, I think, are on the menu next. On the menu makes me think that I should whip out werewolf form. SkyRealism's Feast and Famine makes werewolf form take a lot of calories, and it makes you very hungry very fast. However, you can get a lot of calories back from feeding on your victims. I think it takes something like 4,000 calories to transform, and you get about 2,000 for eating each victim. Cool if this was kind of like Fable and you could get fat. So far the Draugr are going down nice and easy, even here on Legendary. Restless, you say? He actually took 3 hits. And here we go. Scourgy Scourge time. Let's get all the damage we can in on him right fast while he's stumbling around. And right before he attacks, power attack. Sweet. It works. Such petty loots. You know what? I should get a list of the notes up, and I should like pause the video in sections and refresh my mind on what some of the changes are. Oh, a hulking Draugr! What in the hell is this? I don't even know what's going on. It looks like he's going down kind of easily. I wonder. He's gonna take off. He's scared. I was gonna say, I wonder if he does anything special. That was a solid knockdown. Oof! Another Restless. Coming in surprisingly, and that power attack didn't land whatsoever. Come here, buddy. I know you're scared. Whoa. Oh, yeah. Smashing skulls. Quite literally. That's all there is to smash there. Okay, so check it out. I got a great idea. Oh, note that I've still got like Project Reality in too, the lighting effects and all that. We're keeping that. I've also got Frostfall in, which is cool as hell. For anybody that knows what that is, we'll eventually get to some of that stuff, I am sure. I got a great idea though. I'm gonna go all cinematic mode here, and then I'm just gonna play through. I'm just gonna drone on changes. I'm basically gonna read down a list of bullet points of what SkyRe changes, and you're just gonna watch me do some stuff as that happens. Hip hip hooray! Let's start, generally, with some changes to the perk trees. I'm not going to mention detailed perks, just like a summary. So with heavy weaponry, there are a lot more weapons in the game, and since there are a lot more weapons, there are a lot more specializations. The specializations are 2 to 3 different perks. A lot of times it'll have a ranked perk that goes up twice, maybe 3 times, and then a secondary perk that sometimes affects that ranked perk, sometimes gives some other effect of its own. You saw the example with axes providing a small chance that I go berserk and do huge bonus damage. And here's an interesting bit about blocking. Blocking now has a timed block by default. Everyone has this, anybody that can use a block anyway. Where if you're blocking within 0.4 seconds of getting hit, you perform the timed block and it staggers the attacker. The quick reflexes in the block tree was replaced with an enhancement to this time span, so it goes up from 0.4 seconds to, I think it gets up to like 1.2 seconds or something like that. There are a lot of huge changes to the sneak tree. This one I'm just going to rattle off some bullet points. Enemies search for you way longer during all phases of detection. Doubled initial dagger sneak damage to a multiplier of ×6, initial two-handed sneak damage to ×3, initial unarmed sneak damage to ×6, reduced enemy detection view cone, increased sneak experience gain from bow sneak attacks, so you level your sneak up faster. Light has greater influence on sneaking success, equipment weight has greater influence on sneaking success, movement has greater influence on sneaking success. Sound has a slightly reduced influence, however your perks can't benefit it as much, so overall ends up being a slightly greater influence. Crime report distance has been greatly reduced. Modified the influence of heavy armor, and now when you're wearing at least 2 pieces of heavy armor, your sneak skill is about 50% less effective. So generally everything they did here made sneak less of a hacks tree, less of just a tree where bam, you can do anything you want around people. As of Skyrim Redone, shouts now affect your speechcraft. They level up your speechcraft, and there are perks in speechcraft that affect your shouts. Also, merchant work is going to be a lot tougher. Everything's more expensive. You need to really invest in the speechcraft tree to be able to reliably do buying and selling as a lucrative, factor. There's a perk tree that was from lockpicking and pickpocket combined. It's now Wayfarer, and with the Frostfall plugin, it also has some additional perks for surviving. So it's kind of like the lockpicking, pickpocketing, and survival perk tree all wrapped up into one. Of course, there are quite a few perks in the tree. The Conjuration tree has wicked changes that make necromancy seriously viable, that the way HRX work. In ways, debuff them, as in just raw strength, but then in ways, give them other perks and talents and whatnot that give them some utility in different ways. Destruction has been way more well thought and put together, and it has a lot more perks that make spells a lot more potent. The perks that you get to decrease magicka cost as you go up all increase damage by a percentage of your destruction spells, and there are a lot of other changes. With Quinthel, we're going to be all over these changes though. The illusion tree has been totally redesigned. It uses images to give effects like staggering and paralyzing enemies that hit them. All kinds of different darkness, mind prison, all kinds of different additional spells that add to the Fear Frenzy Calm triangle of spells. Generally make the tree much more potent. Alteration is useful in new ways, including short-term weapon buffs and including push and pull spells, as well as some other stuff. The Restoration tree now has auras, curses, and plagues. Enchanting has been overall nerfed, but kind of widened out. It has more utility in the tree now, and a little bit more variation to what you can accomplish with the enchants. That's just examples of a lot of the perk changes. Let's mosey on over to just some other miscellaneous changes. So, dual casting spells now results in a 200% spell cost, but a 220% magnitude. A more potent frostbite venom has been added by giant frostbite spiders. He's increased the inventory respawn time of vendors to 6 days, so it takes a lot longer for merchants to get their inventory back. He's got a lot of new weapons and armors that are in all the merchant stores. There's a respec potion that allows you to basically take all your talents back and or all your perks and relearn all your perks right when you install this. If you load up a character save that you haven't been using this mod on. Let's hit up a few of the race changes. I'm not going to read all the different race changes. I'm just going to read a few of the pertinent ones that you'll be seeing in my videos over the coming days, weeks, however long. So Dark Elves heavily modified the way Ancestor's Wrath works and added a new Ancestor's Fury. So on enemies, Ancestor's Wrath now triggers automatically once they get hit and drop below 50% health, and it's not limited to 1 use per day. So in addition to the Flame Cloak spell, it also adds 50% additional strength to fire-based spells, which makes me think that I should take Quinthil down the fire tree, although I think I'm going to stick to the light. And that effect can stack. So basically, you automatically get Ancestor's Wrath whenever you're below 50% health, and it makes fire spells do more damage, as well as doing its little bit of an AoE. I think the AoE range has been updated as well. Ancestor's Fury triggers automatically when you're below 30% health, and it triggers a huge explosion and 2 Dunmer Ancestors. So almost like what the Summon Ancestor was from, actually, was that in Oblivion? I think that was in Oblivion, and I want to say Morrowind. Was it in both? I don't remember. It was in one or the other. I'm sure of it. For Nords, the Warcry ability has been removed. Instead, they have Warrior Heart and Last Stand. As far as Warrior Heart goes, they increase their weapon damage as their health increases. So the boost is non-linear, and it grows faster whenever they're close to death. So, like, the difference between 20 and 10% is larger than the difference between 50 and 40%. There have been, as I mentioned, gigantic changes to the base combat system. Not anything to do with perks specifically, just general every character stuff. Reduced range is probably the first notable thing for melee and bash attacks. It's been reduced by almost 30%. The range, just being able to swing your axe and actually make contact. Blocking costs stamina now. Attacking costs stamina. The slower the weapon, the higher the stamina cost. The stamina cost for attacking, though, is fairly low. You'll probably see it throughout this footage. Added stamina and health-dependent buffs and debuffs. So whenever your stamina lowers, you get a number of debuffs. However, if your stamina is capped off at the 100 to 95% range, you get some buffs. These debuffs and buffs, I'm not going to repeat all the levels, but you get bonus weapon damage, you get less spellcasting cost, you get increased movement speed whenever you're full on stamina. Whenever you're low on stamina, you get less weapon damage, you take more weapon damage, spells cost more to cast, and you're less effective at blocking, and eventually your movement speed starts slowing down. So when you're low on stamina, you will move slower, as well as all those other crazy effects. Same sort of dichotomy in health. If you're at that top part, you get additional spell magnitude, you get additional weapon damage, you take less incoming weapon damage, and you move a little faster. Spell magnitude, incoming spell damage, weapon damage, movement speed, and blocking effectiveness all decay as your health gets lower. Better armor, protect in better amounts from arrows. Full heavy armor makes you almost impenetrable by arrows. Any unblocked attacks that get through have penalties associated with them. Bleeding damage that occurs over a few seconds. Armor debuffs, small ones, but still. And those get bigger for the larger the weapon that hits you, and the larger the hit from the weapon, anytime an unblocked attack comes through. Standing still increases stamina regeneration considerably. Enemy respawn times occur faster out in the world. A lot of the standing stones have been adjusted as well. The Warrior, Thief, and Mage Stone remain unchanged. All of the other stones have slightly altered effects. Enemies scale a little differently as well. Some areas are higher level, some areas are lower level, so I'll be kind of trying to navigate the world with Quinthil in a smart way by how difficult the content is, not necessarily by what I think would be best to get for her very early. I would really like to delve into the Frostfall perks, or changes, but I don't have enough time. Just to say, in general, with Frostfall, if you get wet, if you get cold, it incurs heavy penalties and you can die. There's things you have to do, including throwing camps, taking shelter from blizzards. It makes survivability kind of like Feast and Famine, having to eat and drink. It makes survivability a factor that you really have to pay attention to. And that's going to have to be all for this video. So this is what I plan to do with Quinthil, and honestly, throw me suggestions. If you'd rather see a different type of build, maybe if you'd rather see one of the other characters that I have, I could work on converting them over to SkyRe and get a little playthrough going with them. I think Quinthil, though, is the first one, and I think I'm still going to be focusing on Lightning Mage. We'll see where else we can split her. The Illusion Tree looks really, really attractive now. The Conjuration Tree, the thought of being a Necromancer and how much it's changed really looks attractive now. But let me stop babbling. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.